Hello guys, welcome back to another video here at the Football Zone. Today, I myself am going to be doing the predictions for the 2023 Champions League semi-finals. Of course, yesterday and Tuesday we knew who the semi-finalists are. It is going to be Manchester City versus Real Madrid, and it's going to be the Milan derby, Inter versus Milan. So I'm going to give my predictions today, and I'm going to say who I think is going to go through and why. And I'm obviously not going to do my finals predictions yet. I'm going to do that when the final comes around because, a lot of things can change up until then. Injuries, suspensions and stuff. For example, I said that the Nagelsmann versus Pep was going to be a huge tactical affair, but he ended up getting sacked. So it was Thomas Tuchel against Pep Guardiola, who, by the way, has done an awful job at Bayern so far. So let's start off with the Milan derby, Inter versus Milan. Now this is this is definitely the biggest game in terms of rivalry and history. Of course, it's not the biggest game in terms of quality. I'm sorry to any Italian fans out there, but Real Madrid and City are just the bigger and better teams. And it's funny that Inter have made it all the way here since they are struggling in the league. I do believe that the past 5 games, they have lost all 4 of them, or at least failed to win 4 of them. Don't quote me on the first thing that I said, but I'm pretty sure that they failed to win the last 4 of their 5 league games. And they lost to Monza in the weekend. And Inter have also really struggled to score a lot of goals lately. Lautaro, I'm pretty sure he did score yesterday against Benfica, but since that, he's not scored since the end of January. Also, Edin Dzeko has also not scored for like 1.5 months, and Lukaku has also struggled scoring a little bit. But you know what, yesterday against Benfica, when they drew 3-3, they did manage to score 3 goals, so that's a good thing. But they have struggled to score goals in the past couple of months, Inter. And I mean, Milan, you cannot really say the same thing for them, because in the league they managed to beat Napoli 4-0, and they also managed to knock them out of the UCL. And Milan, they also like to play attacking football, as to where Inter, they kind of, just like to sit back and defend and then play on the transition. But obviously it's a derby, so anything can happen, anyone can win at any given moment. And I do believe that Inter, they have the better team all around. Like, they've got the better individual players at each position. But right now, they're just not in good shape. They're not in good form, so they don't really seem to capitalize off of the fact that they've got these great players. Like Lukaku, he can be great, but he can also be very terrible. The same goes for Lautaro Martinez. I mean, Nico Barella, he literally scores all of Inter's goals lately. But I feel like overall, AC Milan have got the better team. They got the better chemistry. They play better football than Inter right now. But you know what? Sometimes in derbies, these things, they don't matter. Like, you can play bad for 4 or 5 months, and then you go into a derby and you can beat your opponent 3-0. Like, that's the art of a derby. And I really want to say that Inter are going to win because they've got the better overall team, but I do think that AC Milan are gonna go through, and we all know that they share the same home stadium, so there's not really much of like a home and away advantage. But I do genuinely think that AC Milan are gonna go through. Like, that's what I think. Not that I want Inter to go through. I honestly couldn't care less who goes through or not. But this is a very open tie. But the reason why I think AC Milan are going to go through is basically just because of how bad of a form that Inter they've been in the past few months. So I'm going to say that AC Milan, they're going to go through. And I don't think that this is going to be a game that is going to be decided in just 1 leg. I think that this is going to go to 2 legs, possibly even extra time in the second leg. This game could go anywhere. I honestly feel like the City Real Madrid game might be easier to predict than this one. But these are 2 very difficult games to predict. One is a derby and one is a clash of titans going up against each other. But I think that AC Milan, they're going to go to the final. But don't be surprised if Inter, they go through. But these are just my opinions. By the way, did I get the things right that I said? I did say the City would beat Bayern. I said that Real Madrid would beat Chelsea. I did also say that Napoli would beat AC Milan, which I was wrong about. I'm pretty sure that I said that Inter, they would beat Benfica, but don't be surprised if Benfica, they go through. So I got 3 out of 4 right in my last predictions video. So hopefully I can get 2 for 2 here. Either way, let's move on to the Manchester City and the Real Madrid game, which is the biggest game, not in terms of history, because that is obviously going to be AC Milan versus Inter Milan. But in terms of pure footballing quality, I think that this is definitely the biggest game. So, Real Madrid, City, 2 strong teams. City have had the better season. I mean, they are both are second in their respective leagues. But I feel like City, they play more convincing football. People are literally expecting them to win the treble, and they are sitting second in the league. They are still in the semifinals of the FA Cup and now in the semifinals of the Champions League. So they are not in any final or in first place, and people are still expecting them to win the treble. Like, realistically speaking, Real Madrid could also win the treble, but no one is talking about that. But it's definitely more realistic that City will go on and do it. And I mean, Real Madrid haven't been all too convincing this season. I mean, they did just beat Barca 4-0, but they've also lost to Barcelona a couple of times this season. And they've also lost to some other teams like Villarreal. And City, they're just playing very, very great football right now. Very, very convincing football that kind of, makes you think that, okay, they can actually go all the way, and they probably will and probably should. And we all know Pep Guardiola, people, they say that he likes to overthink, but I feel like he is past that point in his career right now. He doesn't really overthink that much anymore. I mean, I know that he played John Stones in midfield, but it does actually work, because he beat Bayern 3-0 the first game, and then he drew 1-1. And just to talk about Guardiola quickly, a lot of people, they don't understand that he benches his great players, and a lot of players that have problems with Guardiola. But this is what I love about him, that he doesn't care what your name is, he doesn't care who you are. If he wants to play another player instead of you because he feel like that benefits the team more and that's more suited for the game, he will bench you. Like, we've seen it with Zlatan, we've seen it with Yaya Toure, now Joao Cancelo, Laporte as well. He's not getting that much game time. So there's a lot of great players who's not got that much play time under Guardiola, but that is because he picks his lineups through what he thinks is going to be the best suited players for the game. And that's what I love about Guardiola, that he thinks about each game individually. And I mean, I think we can all agree that Manchester City have got the better all-around team. I know that probably attack-wise, I mean, City have Haaland, but Grealish and Vinicius is definitely better. But all-around team, I feel like City have got the much, much better side. Especially in defense, since Real Madrid, they've got, they got? Eder Militao, they've got Rudiger, they've got Nacho Fernandez when he plays sometimes at right back, Lucas Vazquez, Carvajal, Ferland Mendy. I just feel like City have got better players. Obviously, they don't have Joao Cancelo anymore because he was one of those players who were mad about Guardiola benching him. But, they seem to be doing fine without him. They just knocked Joao Cancelo out of the Champions League. And City, they've won 10 of their last 11 games. The one that they didn't win was the draw against Bayern Munich last night. So they are in a very, very good run of form right now. And Real Madrid are also they did beat Real Valladolid 6-0. They also beat Barca 4-0. They also lost 3-2 to Villarreal. But they definitely do know how to score goals. But so do City. I mean, people are saying for ages that City, they just need a striker, that number 9. And they've got that right now in Haaland. So is this the year for Guardiola to win the Champions League at City? Will they prevail against Real Madrid? You just never know, because Real Madrid have won the Champions League 14 times, and we all saw what happened last season. Because they also did meet each other last season, where Rodrigo scored like 2 goals in first of all like the 90th minute, and then in 90 plus 2, 92nd minute. So you just never know with these teams who've won it that many times. But I also feel like people, they are kind of scared of Real Madrid because they just got that like aura around them, although they don't necessarily play the better game, because like in all the games that they won last season, they were not the better team. Even in the final against Liverpool had so many chances to put it away, but Courtois had a wonderful game. But I genuinely do think that Manchester City, they will prevail and that they will go through to the final, mainly because of Erling Haaland. I think that he knows how to score goals. I know he just missed a penalty against Bayern, but he quickly made that up by scoring another goal. And talking about Haaland, come on, what's he scored now? Is it 42, 47? I don't know how many goals it is he's got this season, but it is enough for people to stop calling him this and that and that and this. He's got so many goals. He's the highest scoring player in the world right now. So yes, he can score goals when it matters. And I think that Manchester City, they will go through to the final and face AC Milan. So obviously, we've got the strong side of the bracket, then we got the weak side with AC Milan, Inter, Napoli, Benfica, and we had the strong one with Chelsea, Real Madrid, Manchester City, and Bayern, which is kind of annoying because it would have been fun to have like a really, really big final No disrespect to AC Milan, because they are historically very, very big, but the past 10 years they've not really been what they once were. I mean, they still got the second most Champions Leagues in history in 7. So maybe they can win an 8th one, maybe Manchester City they can win their first one, maybe Real Madrid can win their 15th one. And maybe Inter, I don't know if they've got 1 or 2, but maybe they can add 1 as well. I have no idea, to be honest. But they definitely do have 1. So those are my predictions. If you guys like to change anything, if you guys have some completely other predictions, let me know down below in the comments. And I will see you all in the very next video.